better days, but this is not my worst. That was 2.5 months ago. I'll get to it, because I have a story to tell. Some could argue that story is already over, but I have a plan to get out of here. What's that? How did I get in here? Well, that's a long story, told in 2 parts. The why and the how. The how is most of it. The why I'll get into now. I was born at a very young age, in a small house, in a small neighborhood in Somersville, USA. And my mother and father loved each other very much, but one day I heard yelling coming from downstairs, and when I toddled into the kitchen, my father was doing everything but looking at me, and my mother grabbed me by the shoulders, stared into my eyes and said, "Everything is fine." That was a lie. Heads or tails? Welcome to the how. Lesson 1, start small. There's this common misconception that the first con has to knock socks off. It doesn't. I started at the age of 6. There was a circuit of malls I would walk. I would find a compassionate face, turn on the waterworks, and spin a story about how I thought my mom had left me behind, and that if I could just have a quarter, I could use the payphone to call her. And then when I got that quarter, I'd take off. I'd move on to the next mall. I could spend all day going back and forth. My teddy bear was where I kept all of it. My mother would have asked questions. I was making $15 a day in rolls of quarters, but it wasn't enough. We were not doing so well money-wise. So I stepped it up. Lesson 2, make people underestimate you. These are worth a dime each. You could easily verify that by going to the corner store that I was buying them from. But I was selling them for $25 each. The difference being this, not so easily verifiable. This kid is willing to give this to me for that low? How generous. Or maybe you think I'm the sucker, that I don't know that these can sell for hundreds of dollars each. I'm stammering a lot when I'm talking to you, and I don't even seem too sure on the price. You can do a lot by making people underestimate you. This was steady. I told my mom I had a job. She didn't. I was paying for the mortgage in dimes and markers, and then I cut the dimes, and then I got caught. Spent the night in jail for petty theft of a few comic books. My cell happened to be down the hall from the hospital morgue, and I noticed something. All the dead bodies were wearing clothes. When I got let out of jail, I started looking for ways to medically fake my death. I needed to get in there. I found a substance that would slow my heart rate down just enough, turned that substance into a pill, took it, and wandered on down to the hospital. It was a beautiful day, the kind where the sun barely peeks through the autumn leaves. I was going to be legally dead in 5 minutes. I had a crowbar taped to my leg. This was a coin toss. But I couldn't keep going with dimes and markers. I needed more. Ding went the lobby door, and thump I went. I blacked out. I had a dream about the last time I saw my father. It was out the window in a great big howling snowstorm. He was shoveling the driveway. He wasn't making any difference. Slam! Ah! I woke up and hit my head. I was in, I was dead, I went to work. Pried it open from the inside. If the bodies still had their clothes, then it stood to reason they were still in possession of their valuables. Watches, jewelry, real gems. I opened the first drawer I could reach. The average engagement ring is worth $2,500. 1 in 5 people I pulled out of there were wearing one. And the grid of the morgue drawers were 10 high and 20 wide. That's $100,000. And that's just rings. I was dead, and then I was gone. I left half the money on my mother's doorstep, and I never looked back. I left the country, paid for hotels in cash. Lesson 3. Act like you're supposed to be there. Do you know how easy it is to distract someone? They could be looking at you the entire time you're robbing them blind, and they wouldn't even know. Hi, I was sent in from the office. I'm here to do some routine security checks, maintenance, making sure everything's in good shape. Nice weather we're having, huh? The alarms are gonna go off. That's standard procedure. No need to worry about that. And done. They let me walk out of their museum with this in my bag. The one they still have on display is a gift shop copy. Now, of course, it wasn't this painting. I just kept climbing. Eventually, I found a partner in crime. They seemed impressed by my stories. Lesson 1, start small. They bought me a muffin each morning as we'd walk to the park. We'd talk, a small gesture, but a friendly one. Just a muffin. Lesson 2, make people underestimate you. When I first told them about what I did, they seemed squeamish, like they couldn't believe it. But they liked me so much that it didn't seem to matter how they felt. They just wanted to be involved. Lesson 3, act like you're supposed to be there. They had gotten a tip about security rounds at a museum. They told me, and I believed them. They seemed like they knew what they were talking about. It wasn't until I broke into the museum to do the take and replace, and there were armed policemen guarding my point of entry, that I had realized my partner had lied to me. And that's how I got in here. If there's a lesson you want to take from this, go ahead. It doesn't matter which one you pick. There are a lot of them. I promised you I had a plan at the beginning of this. Can you guess what it is? This teddy bear, sitting on my bed. I've told the warden it bites. He thinks I'm crazy, but he doesn't want to touch it, which is good, as it has something sewn into it. I've been weighing the odds. There's a 100% chance I decompose in this prison, if I don't try to get out. I will take a coin flip any day. Maybe I'll see my dad. I haven't dreamed about him since last time. I'm giving up control. Tomorrow I'll be dead, and then I'll figure out the rest later. Maybe I win.